What happens when energy becomes the new front line of war? When missiles no longer aim for tanks or trenches, but for the pipes, plants, and power grids that keep a nation alive? October 2025 answered that question in explosions that echoed from Kharkiv to Poltava. As Ukraine approaches another freezing winter, the war has shifted deep into the veins of its economy, its energy network. Gas facilities, processing plants, and pipelines have become silent combat zones, and each strike now ripples far beyond the battlefield. In October 2025, a coordinated Russian campaign struck at Ukraine's gas production, crippling more than half of the nation's output. The result? An escalating energy crisis that threatens millions of civilians and challenges Ukraine's capacity to endure the coming cold. But how did the conflict reach this point, where power grids became battle maps? Since 2022, Ukraine's energy grid has stood as both a backbone and a target. Natural gas is not merely an export. It powers heating systems, fuels industries, and stabilizes cities through the harsh winters. For Russia, energy has long been a strategic lever, a domain of influence that stretches beyond the battlefield. But in the wake of a full-scale war, that lever became a weapon. Ukraine's state-owned Naftogaz and private operators like DTEK have kept the system running under immense strain, but recurring missile and drone strikes have tested the limits of repair and resilience. Each attack cuts deeper into the infrastructure that keeps homes warm and factories alive. By 2025, the energy front had evolved into a complex battle of endurance, Russia aiming to dismantle production capacity, Ukraine racing to repair and defend what remains. What does a nation sound like when its heartbeat, the hum of its grid, goes silent? During the night of October 13th to 14th, 2025, that hum was replaced by explosions echoing across Ukraine's industrial heartlands. Strikes swept through Sumy, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, Kirovorad, Odessa, and Zaporizhia regions. Each blast cut deeper into the fragile network that kept the lights on. In Kropivnitsky, an energy facility was struck, leaving districts shrouded in darkness. Railway lines, too, fell silent as power to stations and control systems failed, forcing Ukrzaliznytsia to alter train schedules across the region. Reports from Shoska and the coastal town of Zatoka spoke of burning infrastructure and stalled transport hubs, while Kharkiv endured the heaviest blow. Substations disabled, streets unlit, and vast parts of the city left without electricity through the cold autumn night. And what happens when that darkness spreads? When cities burn not from fire, but from failure? Just 2 days earlier, on a report by October 12th, a power plant in Bilhorod-Dnistrovsky, Odessa region, was engulfed in flames. Footage captured columns of smoke rising into the night sky as transformers cracked and wiring hissed under the heat. The attack plunged parts of the city into water and power outages, leaving local emergency teams racing to stabilize the grid before dawn. But even before Odessa fell dark, where did the chain of silence begin? A report published on October 10th shows the Ukrainian capital itself, Kyiv, was plunged into darkness. A massive strike on the city's combined heat and power plant silenced both banks of the Dnipro River. Water pumps stopped, heating lines cooled, metro trains froze in their tunnels as the capital's energy lifeline flickered out. The skyline, usually bright with movement and light, stood eerily still, illuminated only by the dull red glow of distant fires and the flicker of cell phone screens cutting through the dark. The October strikes demonstrated a hybrid warfare model, one that fused mass drone swarms with precision-guided missile attacks. While official data remains limited, analysts noted the likely use of Shahed-type drones for reconnaissance and saturation, followed by high-yield munitions capable of destroying hardened industrial sites. Such tactics reflect a calculated objective, not just destruction, but disruption. By combining drones and missiles, Russian forces created a tactical overload, overwhelming radar systems, exhausting interceptors, and ensuring that even surviving facilities suffered secondary damage from shockwaves and fires. Satellite images later revealed cratered pipelines, collapsed roofs, and widespread fires across several energy complexes. Yet, beyond the wreckage, what was truly being targeted? The infrastructure, or the idea of stability itself? Each hit carried strategic weight. Reports from the Kyiv Independent confirmed that Kharkiv Oblast, home to multiple gas extraction and compression stations, saw major production halts. Poltava, traditionally one of Ukraine's highest output regions, suffered catastrophic losses when DTEK facilities were disabled. Sumy and Chernihiv, key transit zones for gas transport, experienced infrastructure damage that disrupted downstream supply. Together, these regions represented the core of Ukraine's domestic gas system. Their loss meant not just technical setbacks, but a cascading crisis. Reduced pressure in pipelines, halted refining operations, and widespread power outages. Millions of Ukrainian households now face the prospect of winter without reliable heating. But can numbers truly measure the weight of darkness? The economic cost of these strikes is staggering. Analysts estimate that Ukraine may now need to import nearly 2/3 of its winter gas demand at prices that could push the national energy import bill to 1.9 billion euros. But beyond the numbers lies a deeper humanitarian dimension. The collapse of domestic production directly affects hospitals, schools, and apartment blocks already dependent on emergency power. As the temperature drops, the energy shortfall threatens to turn daily survival into a national struggle. The psychological impact is equally severe. Energy infrastructure, unlike military bases, sits at the heart of civilian life. Each explosion is not just an act of warfare, but a message that the war can reach every light bulb, every heater, every home. And in this new age of war, what defines victory? The land conquered, or the systems that sustain life? The October offensive highlights a broader transformation in modern warfare. Infrastructure is no longer collateral damage, it is a primary objective. Strikes on power grids, refineries, and gas fields erode not only a nation's logistics, but also its will to fight. By targeting energy production, an adversary can impose costs without engaging large-scale ground battles. The result is a form of strategic attrition that bleeds economies and undermines civilian resilience. The 2025 gas attacks thus stand as a case study in 21st century hybrid warfare, where technology, timing, and precision converge to achieve maximum impact with minimal direct confrontation. With over half of its gas production crippled, the nation stands on the edge of an energy crisis that could shape both battlefield outcomes and civilian endurance. The October 2025 campaign demonstrated that control over energy, not just territory, now defines the balance of power. Pipelines and power plants have become the new front lines. Whether Ukraine can rebuild and adapt under these conditions will depend on international support, resource management, and resilience. But one truth remains clear. In modern war, energy is life, and when that lifeline is severed, the consequences are felt not in the trenches, but in the cold silence of unheated homes across a nation. That's for today's episode. See you from another report from the battlefield.